My name is Tikva Gilman, and I am a student with Village School of Ministry. You may not be aware of this, but Village Church actually has a school where young men and women come to be equipped to be leaders within the church, outside the church, and really just explore what it looks like to do ministry in any capacity. And so each of us students were studying theology, the academics of ministry, essentially. But we also have a practical aspect of it where we actually work inside a village church. And so I am working within the women's ministry under our women's pastor, Anne Miranda. Shout out to her. We love her. She's awesome. And so that's kind of what I'm doing and who I am. So that's enough about me. I'm super excited. We have this series that we're doing called Unfiltered Talks, where we just get to talk to different people and hear their stories. And so this one specifically is Unfiltered Talks with Young Adults, where I get to hop on here with different young women within our church and just hear their stories. And so today I have our friend Morgan. Welcome, Morgan.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good. Yeah, it's Friday. It's awesome.
Thank you so much for hopping on here with me. Would you just introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, what occupies your time. Who is Morgan?
Who is Morgan? That's a great question. So I am an interior designer by trade. I've been doing that for 5 years. So it's something that I'm really passionate about, and the opportunities that has provided me to see change happen in a built environment. So I've worked on hotels, churches, offices, kind of a wide range of things, which has been, awesome. I've attended Village for 7 years, I believe, at the South Surrey location. And I've been involved with the Village Youth for that entire time. So that's a big highlight of my week, is getting to journey alongside of students and see them realize just their potential and just who God has made them to be, and grow into that. That's been a huge part. So that occupies my Tuesdays, and it's so awesome to be with students. I live by myself, but currently have my dog Lola with me, who's 12, who thinks she's a diva, or is a diva. She's very spoiled, but she's a great coworker / sleeping right next to me here.
What kind of dog is she?
She's a Maltipoo.
Oh, so cute.
She couldn't live with me for a while because with working downtown and spending a lot of time commuting and stuff to my place in New West, she wasn't happy here where I live. So she went back to my parents' place and was living the good life with lots of seasoned meals and heating pads and beds and cushions everywhere. So but since COVID and that everything is now at home, I've had her back with me for about a month, and I think she's enjoying it, as long as I give her all the food and treats. And
Oh, that's so sweet. So that's cool. So we have like a glimpse into your life, and you have a great job, it seems, and you're involved in ministering to youth, and you have your dog. She sounds so cute. But we know that in life we all have struggle, various types. Could I just ask, like, what has been like your main struggle in your life that has alongside your career? Like, what is going on?
Mental health has been a huge part of my life. And for the past over 12 years, I guess, I've been battling depression and anxiety. And so that's been, a huge I'm sorry.
You are so good.
I guess I've been battling, depression and anxiety for the past 12 years. And it's been something that God has really revealed himself to me in through that. And through not experiencing healing, no matter how many times I've prayed or cried out or been told like, oh, you can just be happy or things will get better or whatever, well-meaning affirmations from people. But yeah, it's been a real journey in trusting God's plan and that he has what's best for me, even if it doesn't seem like that in the middle of sobbing on my couch or just like flat out exhausted, can't get out of bed, that he's still there with me in that. I would say for all of my life, or as much as I can remember, I've struggled with self-image and identity and just who am I, that a God could love me, that I am enough just who I am. And that's been something, as I've realized more and examined my life, I've realized that that's been a huge part of a motivating factor for just trying to work hard or the things that I want to accomplish in life, is just coming from a place of feeling inadequate. And whether I was comparing to friends or sibling or just those I would see around me, that I always felt like I wasn't measuring up. And that naturally translated to my relationship with God, that it's hard to understand how a God could love you when you hate yourself. And then knowing that we all don't measure up, but not being able to grasp that love that is far beyond what we can understand. So in my finite logic, understanding God is like, okay, I don't measure up. So, okay, God, I'm going to do everything I can to please you in that way, or work really hard so that I can validate myself in some way as being worthy of to be your daughter. And so that kind of became a transactional thing without even realizing that. I was like, okay, God, I want to work my hardest for you. I grew up in a family and was learned a strong work ethic, and that serving in the church is important, and living out your faith. So that's been modeled for me well, I would say, in my family and growing up. And I just took that more internally in terms of needing to, that the weight of those things became all consuming, and that whether it was in academics in high school or in my career, my whole identity rested on how I performed and how others viewed me within that, which can be quite soul crushing, I would say. Like, that any bad critique or poor grade would result in just like complete crumbling of who I thought I was and who, and my identity. So, end of grade 12 was when I was first diagnosed. And that was at a point where all my energy and focus and trajectory was towards academics and my grades, and came to a breaking point of realizing that wasn't something I could maintain, and that it shouldn't be it's not possible for that to be the main kind of marker of a person's worth and value is in that. So end of grade 12 that became just a breaking point, I would say, of not wanting to live anymore and just being ready to not being able to function as I thought I needed to this bar I had set for myself that I couldn't maintain that. So what's the point in even trying? And so yeah, within university, that was still a struggle. And at that time, I wasn't even studying interior design yet, and was in a program that really, I was in business, and the culture was to really push for building your resume and making those steps forward, and doesn't matter who you need to step on to get ahead, but that's your main goal. And that was a huge struggle for me as someone that wants to help others, and God's given me a desire to see people grow and to help others and to do what I can with what he's given me and serving others. So that was a huge struggle, and yeah, became this place of I couldn't achieve the marks that I expected of myself, and just being at a place of exhaustion, but also not feeling like I could open up to anyone. Mm-hmm. And even still, there's still such a stigma about mental health, and but that I would say the conversations have opened up more so than they had back then. So in such a image focused, I would say, and like outward output focused program, it wasn't something you could talk about. So it was something that I would just bury and just work harder, and got to the point where, again, it was a burnout and didn't want to live, attempted to end my life, and was just not in a place where I could really see a way out, that everything around me had become so focused on just what I was doing and how that was happening, that it was impossible to see room for where God could intervene and do that, because I was trying to do that all on my own and trying to maintain the standard and trying to show him all that I could accomplish, kind of thing. And all the time in the background, he's just going, okay, Morgan, I see you trying, but I'm here. And yeah. And those warning signs of him trying to get a hold of me. Unfortunately, it's taken in my life to come to a breaking point a lot of times for me to realize that I needed to come to him, and instead of realizing that I could lean into him along the way, and that being able to be empowered by him to do the things that I was doing, it was more so of me trying to take control and see and just, I would say, leave him at arm's length, just to show him that, or for him to be proud of me and what I was doing on my own. So fast forward into career life in interior design, I made the switch, and had struggled with going into design, thinking, okay, how can God use me in this field? Obviously, the first thing my mind went to was like, no African village is going to ask an interior designer to come and spruce up their hut. It's not like extreme hut makeover kind of thing of like, what can God use me for this? Like, is there any benefit? Is there any, no, I wouldn't say benefit. Is there, how can he use me and impact people through that? And that I'm inspired that he is the great designer, that he cares so much about every detail and every system and how things operate, and just the most creative I could ever think of imagining, kind of thing of just that inspires me, that there's that God cares so much about the design and details of everything, and that in that I can be inspired to do my best to help people in what I'm doing. So yeah, been in my design career for about 5 years. And again, it came to a breaking point in 2019 as responsibilities were ramping up and goals and output became an idol in my life in terms of work and what I was accomplishing. And I was still battling depression along the way. It hadn't ever gone away. I would say there have been seasons that have been more manageable and under control. But my natural coping method for depression is to bury it and just throw a mask on, laugh about things, not talk about it, and just pretend it's not there, which never seems to work, though I keep trying. So yeah, with work, I was burying myself into that, and the worse I felt about myself, the more I would just charge into whatever I was doing. And the work became, again, the standard that I had set for myself, and that any sort of change along the way or critique or comment from a friend or coworker or anything became a blow to who I was. And that, yeah, I was often told I was taking things personally, which I was, because everything within work, I was counting towards who I was as a person. So in 2019, I reached a breaking point and a burnout and had to take a leave of absence from work for about 7 months, which as someone who's a perfectionist and cared about output and everything else, that was like a huge, I felt that was an embarrassment of like, okay, everyone else is handling their job, handling life, handling things around them. Why can't I just figure it out, fix myself, pull things together, knowing that this has been going on a long time and I've never been able to fix myself, but me still trying. And I really see, looking back on that, I see that as God just needing to get my attention, that him speaking and being alongside me in those times and trying to get my attention hadn't worked, that there were red flags along the way, as kind of as you're thinking of a road and you're seeing like hazard, like up ahead, like slow down, figure things out, what's going on. And I'm just like plowing ahead being like, it's okay. I'm not sleeping. That's fine. Or I'm sobbing every night. Okay, I'm fine. Like moving forward. And yeah, so I reached a point that I had bussed into work, got to downtown, and just ended up sitting on a park bench like a block from my office and just uncontrollably sobbing. I had these random tourists that were like, what's going on? Like, can we help you? And I'm like, I'm fine. Like, I don't really want to open up right now, but ended up having to, have my mom come get me, and saw a doctor, and literally it was just my body was breaking down from the stress and from the unmanaged mental health and the depression, and ended up having to move home to my parents, and they were such a great support and comfort in that time, is like a safe space where don't have to have it all together, don't have to appear like I'm Oh, I apologize for the silence. Yeah, ended up moving home and just trying to experience who I was as a person without work, as like I'm someone that likes to figure things out, likes to get it done, whether I'm getting the recognition or not, just that if I'm just here as me, like what do I bring to the table? And I would say it's still something that I haven't figured out. And it's still something I'm journeying through of what does that look like if I strip away all of the accomplishments, all of the nice things people say, or just anything I'm doing, like what's left, who am I? And Jesus continually brings me back to him of like that I am his daughter, not because of what I've done, but because of who he is and what he's done. And I would say along the way that it's been 2020 has been or was awful. And I know I can imagine for anyone else struggling with mental health that COVID just really the of any like steps forward that I was making before COVID hit. So I ended up going back to work January of 2020 and did two-ish months of in-person, and then everything hit the fan, and have been working from home since then, which for someone that enjoys the social aspect of work, enjoys getting out of the house and needs that kind of structure, it's been a huge challenge. And I would say the things I'd put in place in my life that had been helping and pushing me along the way have all been kind of gone, whether that was like exercising or the structure of a day, and not having your office right next to your living space and constantly being pulled back to answer one more email or one more activity, or just even getting to hang out with people and see people. So that's been really hard. And I would say, this last year there's been, it's been a bit crazy. I think I'm starting to finally realize that figuring this path out on my own isn't fruitful, that I can continue trying and pushing forward and trying to fix myself or do A, B, C, and D, and then I'll feel like enough, and recognizing that that's not the case, but still left in a place of, okay, then where am I left? That if output's not everything, if work or academics or serving or whatever is not going to make me measure up, then what is? So I would say this year it's been dark, whether that's been not being able to get out of bed, or making plans to end my life on multiple occasions, and by the grace of God still being here today. And I'm thankful for the support system he's given me. And it's hard with not being able to see people and reach out and yeah, I think as someone who can get really good at faking things and putting on a brave face, that you can get to the point where you can fool those around you, that not wanting to be a burden, not wanting to share how dark things are, that it becomes a spiral and stuff. So it's been a real challenge, but I just know that through all of this, the richest moments with Christ have been in the moments of despair of, okay, God, I can't do this on my own. I have nothing left to give. So you have to step in here, or I don't know what to do. I have no answers, or I'm feeling alone. It's in the middle of the night and I don't have the strength to reach out to anyone. You have to meet me here in this moment. And he is so faithful and good. And he understands. So even with a supportive family and friends that come alongside and do their best, they don't often understand what's in my brain, of what's going on, that I'm either embarrassed to share or I don't want to burden them with, that he knows. And that's just so comforting to know that he sees all that, and he's been with me through all of that, but that he's still there, that he hasn't run away scared, or like that it's not too much for him, or even in my attempts to control the end of my life, to try and make that call myself, and to, I guess, take the ultimate control of trying to say, God, I know you want this to keep going, but I'm just going to pull the chute here. I'm done. Mm-hmm. He continually shows up and shows me, okay, Morgan, I got more for you. I got more. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep going. And it gives me hope in that I know he will continue to use my experiences, and hopefully other people that are experiencing the same thing can realize they're not alone in this, that even in the darkest, most isolating, alone pit that you can feel, that he's still alongside. Nope, those words. He's still right there. And that I'm comforted that he's in control, and that I can choose to have hope in the future, because I know that he is at the wheel, that he is, he has what's best for me. I have the power within me to continue and to push and to serve and to do what he's calling me to, because of who he is and not because of who I am.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing all of that, and not just your past struggle, but your current struggle. That's really vulnerable. And I know that there are so many people whose stories are so similar. And it's crazy to think just how each one of us who goes through these struggles with mental health, like the biggest thing that I feel as though we feel is that we're alone. So what would you say to someone on the other side of this conversation, just watching, whether they're a youth, young adult, they're in their career, like what is something that you would say to them in that space of just feeling so alone? Even you described the times where you've tried to just end your life and just like it just didn't feel worth it anymore. Like, what would you say there?
Couple things. I would say keep coming back to the source of light, basically, that you're in the darkest moments, and depression and the devil and all those other forces at work will say, yeah, you're not in a place where you can come to Christ in this moment, that figure it out, and then you can come and figure it out and then come to him, that you're inadequate as you are, kind of thing. So I would say that, yeah, crying out to him, and believe me, I get it, that in those moments that you have no motivation for anything, it can be incredibly hard to reach out and to say, okay, I'm going to start this devotional on the book, start these 3 steps to figuring my life out, or read this self-help book or whatever. But I would encourage you to just come back to him, whether that's crying out in prayer, just trying to listen to what maybe he's calling you to, or what those that you trust in your life are speaking into it. And then I would say, coming back to him, and then having people you can take your mask off in front of. So not literally your face mask right now, not encouraging that, but that in so many experiences in our lives, whether that's work, whether that's out in public, whether it's with some friends or people around you, that you can't be your authentic self, and being able to let down those walls, and maybe it's crying, maybe it's just anger or just panic. And it can be so exhausting to just suppress that around so many people, that having people that you can open up to, whether that's counseling or family or friends, or whatever that looks like for you, you need that. You can't do it alone. As much as some of us like to try to figure it all out, it's not going to happen. And then, I would say on the flip side too, of if someone, for those that have people reaching out to them, that are friends that are struggling with mental health, it can be so uncomfortable, and not knowing how to help or how to engage in that conversation. I think for me, the people that have been the most supportive along the way have been those that'll just listen and validate how I'm feeling, that it doesn't become, not seeing it as needing to rescue me in those moments. I mean, there's different cases. Obviously, sometimes some action is needed, or it depends on the situation. But for me, those that are coming alongside just to check in, and that I know that I don't have to come up with a plan altogether to fix this in 5 easy steps or whatever, that they're not coming alongside to try and fix me or see me as broken, and that that they're going to solve it for me, but just that they can come alongside and just listen and be there in whatever capacity I'm needing in that moment. So, yeah.
That's awesome. There are specific parts that you talked about that I'm like, oh, I need to hear that today. Like even in that struggle that we have in like performing, and then your value being like in your academics or in your work, and like, oh my goodness.
I think it's almost universal as women, of like, okay, needing to prove ourselves, okay, like, and this push to be like, okay, I'm just like, wow. I've lost all my words. But yeah, as women, we're all just kind of, and in this culture, it's like, okay, keep pushing forward. Like the barriers of what we can do are lessened, I would say, or there's like women's empowerment or empowered to do more. But then on the other side of that, it's like, okay, but now with doing more, we put that much more pressure on ourselves to continue doing that or to exceed those expectations or push beyond that. So
Yeah, it was so true. And I think like it was interesting. I had, you know, Josh Cruz. He's so awesome. He
mm-hmm.
taught one of our classes the other day, and he started the class by asking each of us when we experienced God in the most deep way in our life. Like when was that moment? And the whole class is sharing in every single last moment. Like it was like one of those like the hardest times. But what was interesting is that in the hardest times, those are the times that like we actually let go, you know?
Yeah.
And yesterday I was walking home from work thinking about that. And I was just like, when you're in the, like when I'm in the darkest times and I have nothing else to give, like that is the exact place where I stop striving. And often when life is going better, then we just start striving, and it's in the striving that we then just start spiraling. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like Lord, like how do I not strive? How do I let go before the breaking?
And he gives us that little taste of like success or everything being like, okay, I'm doing this in you, and you're seeing this, but you're not seeing all the strings at work behind the scenes of him doing that. So all of a sudden it's like a taste of that, and it's like, okay, I can do this all on my own. Like, gotta figure it out. And like, and then it takes that to take something to redirect our course, kind of thing. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I know that there's a lot of people who, in hearing your story, are going to be encouraged. And then even just that last piece of advice when you're talking about being on the flip side is being that friend who is on the receiving end of the person reaching out. I know that is really helpful. So thank you so much for sharing all of that.